Hey everybody, welcome back to 13 Rings, an NFC East podcast. I'm your host, Lucas, with Mal, Maurice, and Earl. Guys, I missed you guys last week. I really wanted to talk about some football, but I'm very glad that you guys were able to get Rio on and cover for me. How have you guys been? I feel like even though I talk to you guys individually, it's not the same.
It's a good week for me.
Yeah, can't complain. Things been good, but we're glad you're back, man. We missed you.
Welcome back, my brother.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. So, let's get into it. There's some football to talk, but before we do that, of course, we need to review the results. And so we're going to go to Week 7. We know the Cowboys were on a bye, so we don't need to worry about them. So, Giants, Week 7. This is an interesting take. 3 of us had the Giants winning that game. And only one person had the Giants losing. I think we know who the person was that had the Giants losing.
Was it you?
I think we all know. No, it was Maurice.
Yeah, I had the Eagles winning.
I would have assumed it was Lucas, too. He's a hater. Generational hater.
I mean, look, my prediction of a 4-13 season is not looking super crazy right now, okay? That being said, of course, we all had, besides Maurice, we all had the Eagles losing. And for me, we all had the Commanders winning, but I don't think it was quite in the fashion that happened. So, of course, we had a bye week for the Cowboys. Earl, any thoughts on the bye week for the Cowboys? Any news that came out that you want to share real briefly before we get into the games?
Well, the only thing I could tell you is that I really hope someone buys the Cowboys because Jerry Jones he just needs to keep his mouth closed. I already know that the team is pretty much run by Stephen Jones and Will McClay, that they're allowing all this to happen, and Jerry Jones is the mascot. That's all I got to say. Long story short, I'm glad that the Cowboys have a bye week because they have a lot to work on. They got a lot of basic search to go through, and for it, I hope they took this time to get ready for a Niners team that pretty much gives them the heebie-jeebies the last couple of years. So it's just seeing how they're going to come out and show out the play. I just want to see them fight instead of just getting mauled over. So, yeah, we'll see what happens going into Sunday.
I don't remember if I picked the Niners or the Cowboys, but after what happened this week with the 49ers, you should win this game.
Well,
you're right. You should, but with how they play with the Niners, the last time they beat the Niners was the COVID year. And even for that alone, it came down to an onside kick that CD took for a touchdown. But
so I will say this, Earl, going back to the predictions for Week 8 for the Dallas Cowboys against the 49ers, only one of us chose them to win, and I'm not going to tell you guys who until next week.
That's fine, but I'll leave you with this bit. If they lose to a depleted Niners team, McCarthy's job is at stake. I think He gets fired.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm surprised he didn't get fired after last week. That being said, Mal and Maurice, the floor is yours.
Yes, it is. Another NFC East divisional matchup. All right, so I'm going to start. Eagles won 28-3. This was a drumming. This was a beatdown. This was an old-fashioned jump on the dude, beat him up, stomp him out. That's what the Eagles did to the Giants. No offense, man.
They took their lunch money too, huh?
Yeah,
they took them behind the woodshed.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness!
Yeah, this is a beatdown. Statistically, only thing I need to mention really is 8 sacks. The Eagles had 8 sacks on Daniel Jones. Like that's kind of embarrassing. It's kind of pathetic. Now, I thought the Giants' offensive line, Mal, correct me if I'm wrong, was pretty good. Now, you did lose your left tackle, correct?
Yeah, for the season.
Yeah, so, that was a big hole.
Clearly, it's a huge hole.
I mean,
it's not like the Eagles' defense were world breakers. No offense, Maurice.
Well, I mean, we did have 5 sacks last week, but that was the Browns.
I'll save
Yeah.
my comments for
My point exactly. But like,
So
you
the
know,
Browns and the Giants are the same.
I mean, in terms of like, you know, like, no, I'm just saying the Browns' offensive line is so terrible, and before the Thomas injury, you know, the Giants were so good, and now they're as bad as the Browns' offensive line. At least by looks of this game, I mean, gosh, I mean, now Josh Sweat is up to 3 sacks. He only had, well, like, one entering week, the 2 weeks ago. So, like, Josh Sweat is your leading sack leader, by the way. Just putting that out there.
I know. You started off slow. You only have 4 sacks going into the Browns game, and we have 13 since. So
13 rings.
There you go. Standout players for me was A.J. Brown. But, I mean, the player of the game was Saquon Barkley. This was Saquon Barkley's revenge game, or just the Saquon game, as I called it on Twitter, on X. 17 carries. That's all it took. 176 yards, 1 touchdown. Should have had a couple more touchdowns, but, you know, tush push. He averaged 10 yards a carry. And his long was 10.4. And his long was 55 yards. This was Saquon coming back to MetLife. And, you know, he had something on his shoulder he wanted to get off. So, I mean, this was I don't think it was nothing that was going to stop him from having a great game today.
Well, let me ask you guys this. In terms of, like, how he was received, like, how did the crowd receive him? Because I didn't get to really watch too much of the game.
They burned his jersey.
Well, that was like during the off season. Did they do that pregame? I didn't see that.
They did.
Oh, I didn't see that. And I know he got booed when offense first came on the field. That was on TV.
Yep.
But yeah, he I think as the game went on, he started dominating. He got more cheers, which is actually respectful.
They miss him. They miss him.
Well, I mean, even Mal can agree that at this point they made the wrong decision. They just simply made the wrong decision.
I don't think we did. We are not good enough. We are not good enough to keep him. There was no reason for us to keep him, and I'll go into it once I describe how many actual holes are still on this roster. So
I can't wait to get to my take.
It sucks, but he's a luxury player, and we just can't afford that right now. I'm still not mad at the decision, and I'm happy for him. Yeah, I'm happy for him to do well. It doesn't really bother me anymore, but I'll get into it more once I reach my.
So you can say his name now?
Yeah, I honestly, I can't even tell y'all how much I just. You know what? I'll save it, Maurice. You continue yours, right, and then I'll talk afterward.
Power to the broccoli.
So Jalen Hurts, 10 for 14, 114, 1 touchdown. He had 2 rushing touchdowns, which was the tush push. He had a good game. I mean, nothing crazy. As long as he doesn't turn the ball over, which he didn't, I'm cool. Other standout players. Kenneth Gainwell rushed for 56 yards. That was pretty much garbage time, so kudos to him. But yeah, I just wanted to focus on the defense because the defense is coming around. I think Vic Fangio is starting to adjust. He's not going to get a ton of pressure from just his edge rushers. Normally, against a normal offensive line, not the Browns or Giants. So he's bringing more pressure, and he's blitzing a little bit more. And you see it in the game, and it's actually working. It's effective. Quinyon Mitchell had a lot of him and Darius Slay kind of tag teamed on Neighbors in this game, and Neighbors only had 4 catches. And Quinyon Mitchell is going to be he's going to be a stud player at the cornerback position and going into the future. So he showed me something. Cooper DeJean showed me something. The young guys really are starting to step up now. We're starting to see it, at least with them too. But overall, the defense dominated. 8 sacks is kind of crazy. It was like every time Daniel Jones dropped back, it was like a high probability he's going to get sacked. And I actually kind of feel bad for the dude because he seems like, for everything I've seen, he seems like a really nice guy. He's just caught in the whirlwind right now, and I think it's only a matter of time. Well, the time will be at the end of the season where he moves on, and hopefully he can have a bounce back career with another team. But with that said, GG's now 28-3. We got to win. They don't play each other again until at the end of the season, which is crazy. It's a long time from now. But yeah, good game.
Yeah, GG's, Maurice. So I'm going to say that at this point, listen, I don't feel bad for Daniel Jones anymore. I can't feel bad for the guy. It's always something, you know. They benched him at the end of the game. He's like, I'm frustrated. Boy, you're frustrated? I'm frustrated of watching you be so trash. Like, I can't do it anymore. I can't. And that leads me into how the game actually went. The whole game was trash. There was absolutely nothing good. I don't even think I have a player of the game. Everyone just was terrible. No one was on the same page. The coaching was terrible. Guys, I can't even tell you how much anymore. Like, fire everyone or fire nobody. I really don't care anymore because there's just not going to be any changes. It doesn't matter. And it's just always the same thing. Every single regime. It's awful. I don't even know. It's unwatchable at this point because I just don't even know what's going to fix it, you know. And listen, yeah, is Andrew Thomas a big loss? Joe Shane literally said on Hard Knocks, I'm keeping Daniel Jones because I haven't given him anything around him. So you know how bad our backup tackles are. In the offseason, you didn't do anything to fix it. You just relied on Andrew Thomas magically staying healthy. Yeah, Azudu gets beat and has been trashed the entire time, but he doesn't want to admit that his draft picks are busts. So you're in this horrible situation. We have no cornerback help. Deonte Banks is forced to follow these number one wide receivers when he really shouldn't even be there yet because Shane didn't do his job of addressing the secondary. It's just sloppy, and it's just bad management all around. I just don't know how he can fix it. Next year, if they do keep him, it's his biggest offseason yet, and it will make or break his career. And I am rooting for the guy. I do like him, and I think he does know what he's doing. But he did not set up the roster for success at all. With that being said, Daniel Jones, abysmal. You pay this guy all this money. Can't even. The last time he's thrown a touchdown in MetLife Stadium was 2 years ago. That is such a slap in the face to the fans that spend all of that money on season tickets, traveling to games, parking, you name it. They don't even get a decent performance. You go out there and you watch the team get destroyed at home constantly, and there's just no answers for it. And every time they come up on the stage and do a press conference is, I'm going to be better. Well, you're not. And next week we got to play Pittsburgh on primetime, and that's going to be another butt whooping. So I just don't have answers for this team anymore, man. And, you know, I don't know what's wrong with them. Dable's losing the locker room. Malik Neighbors is out here like, I'm open. Don't know why you guys are saying I wasn't. And he was, if you watch the tape. Daniel Jones just doesn't. He just has one read, and that's what he does. But you know what? They laid their bed, this administration, and they have to lie in it. They better hope they fix it, or jobs are on the line, and they better start figuring it out. But that's how I'll leave that at that.
Ooh. This is coming from the diary of an angry Giants fan, guys. Mouse spitting hot yoga fire out here. Oh, gosh. I don't even know. Look. Flames. No. Look, I will say your player of the game would probably be Dexter Lawrence. He's up to 9 sacks for a D tackle.
I forget the good and bad situations, but yes, Dexter Lawrence is leading in sacks, which he's special.
Yeah. Guy should be finalist for Defensive Player of the Year, absolutely, because he's carrying that defense on his back. Tyler Nubin, the second week in a row, top 2 or number 1 in tackles for the team. That's good for you guys. Look, I've been saying this from week 1 doing this pod. Daniel Jones is the problem. Now, it does not help when you're one of the best, right tackle. Hold up, Andrew Thomas is right tackle, right?
No, he's a left tackle.
Left tackle. One of the better left tackles in the NFL falls apart, and then your whole entire offensive line scheme falls apart too. That doesn't help. But like I said, Daniel Jones, I saw something where Dable says Jones is our starter week 5. Let's see how long he stays starter in week 5. That's what I'm going to say. It looks like we're trending towards Drew Lock, or maybe we'll get a Tommy DeVito sighting this season. I don't know. We'll see. But Jones, we were talking about how he was managing games for a little bit, and he was. But divisional games are a completely different animal, and he can't. He's falling apart. We were talking about how he might be able to save his career. Now it's not looking like it's going to happen. And now I know Earl has a lot to say. So Earl, go ahead. Preach to us.
Thank you, Lucas. The situation I got from both of these games, basically the Giants and Eagles game, is that Saquon, for him, it was a low-key personal for him. And I believe he did what he needed to do just to kind of show what the Giants missed out on. He went out there and said, "This guy quarterback, this is who you really wanted? All right, bet." And he went out there and almost ran for 200-some yards. It was amazing to see because he obliterated the defense single-handedly. He had more yards than Jalen Hurts passing the ball. He was definitely the impact player of this game. And for what the Eagles have, they're fortunate they got this dude, while the Giants should be looking stupid for letting this guy go to the ops. And the more that I saw Saquon running, I know in his mind, if it was for me, and I look at the Giants who wears the 26 now, I'm like, is this your running back? I really didn't see much of Singletary. And I really believe that if they thought he was going to be the answer to what Saquon was, sadly mistaken. I agree.
Tyrone Tracy is now going to be the number 1, it looks like.
Yeah, Devin Singletary was never going to be what Saquon Barkley was.
I know. I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna get to that. Yep. I agree with everything what Mal had said to that standpoint. And it really makes me think that in Dable's situation, if he does get fired from this, I feel he didn't get a fair chance to get the quarterback in that he really wanted. And just for what the owner decided to do in paying Daniel Jones was that you have no choice. You paid him, you got to play him. And if it continues to be abysmal to what it is, you might as well see Drew Lock. You might even see Tommy Cutlets. But for the money that they have on him this year, you're going to see a lot more Daniel Jones until something happens. I don't wish injury on no man. But if he gets injured, you might see that backup come in or the third string. But for what Daniel Jones has now to how early the season is to the end, yeah, it's not looking good for him. And that brings to my point for what you, Mal, Becca, Dan, C. Webb, enjoy this. In the 2025 NFL Draft, the New York Giants draft Shedeur Sanders, quarterback, Colorado. The Giants select Carson Beck, quarterback, Georgia. The New York Giants select Jalen Milroe, quarterback, Alabama. The New York Giants select quarterback. Yeah, this is basically, y'all need a quarterback because whatever occurs moving forward, it's going to be same rinse repeat. So y'all got the Steelers coming up, I think on Monday. Yeah. Basically, y'all better hope y'all can figure out a common game plan against those guys because I've seen what the defense can do for Pittsburgh, and they're in the top 5 right now. So, Godspeed, New York Giants. Player of the games that I have for each team: Giants, Dexter Lawrence; Eagles, Saquon Barkley. I digress.
So, if anybody doesn't have anything else to add, good game for Saquon. Giants, you going to be the bottom of the division. Sorry, it is what it is. Quarterback next year, we'll see. We'll see who you guys get. I think that's the prospect to watch for for them, which we'll get to eventually, right, Earl? So, but in the meantime, let's go to the team, another team that won in the NFC East. And we already said we all thought the Washington Commanders would beat the Carolina Panthers. And I know Earl messaged me before the game saying you guys are going to win 43 to
Tell him the score.
13. You said 43 to 13.
No, I said 40 to 10.
40 to 10, my bad. Well, anyway, 40 to 7. That is what we gave up. Look, did my heart skip a beat when Jaden Daniels left the game? Absolutely. Look, it's never a good thing, but he was cheerful at the end of the sideline. He's week to week. I fully expect him to step up this next game because it's against Caleb Williams, number 1 overall pick in the same draft, and the Chicago Bears. I expect him to play that game. It'd be very, very bad injury if he wasn't going to play. And by looks of it at the end of the game, I don't think it's that bad. That being said, when your offensive coordinator and your backup quarterback are in good enough sync to where you can still perform put up 30 points on your own without the starting quarterback, you got something cooking. It's clearly not just Jaden Daniels that is carrying this Washington Commander team. It is good coaching, it is good depth, and it is the right systems. Look, Marcus Mariota, former Heisman winner, hasn't really had a good season since maybe like his first 2 seasons with the Tennessee Titans. He won 8 of 23, 205 yards, and 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 1 sack. QBR of 64.8. I don't think anybody would ever expect Marcus Mariota to have that good of a game, but he did. And we could say, oh, it's the Carolina Panthers. Well, guess what? You beat the teams that are in front of you. Doesn't matter the record. And they are a professional football team despite their quarterback play, okay? And we put it on them. Not only that, Brian Robinson came back after missing last week. He had 71 yards and 1 touchdown on 12 carries. Jaden Daniels had 50 yards on 3 carries before he left. And Jerry McNichols had 42 yards on 7 carries. Austin Eckler and Marcus Mariota, ran 2, but not nearly as impressive. This is the other, I think, undersold part of the season. Terry McLaurin. We've always said, he's the number 1 by default in Washington. Well, guess what? He's playing like a number 1. He had 6 catches for 98 yards. He had a long of 25. He had 6 targets. He collected every single pass that was thrown to him. And he's had a killer season. Okay, he's in the 400-yard range. He's on pace for a 1,100-yard season. The guy's looking fantastic. Zach Ertz is looking great. And, look, let's be real. Noah Brown is our number 2 wide receiver. He really should be a number 3 or 4 on most, elite wide receiver depth charts. But he's number 2 for us. And we're still pulling it out. And it's not just with Jaden Daniels. It's with Marcus Mariota, too. But the defense is the real story here. You had my man, Dante Fowler Jr., he is up to 4.5 sacks leading the team this season. He also had his first pick 6 of his career for 67 yards and a touchdown. Now, he's built like he's a big fella, and he ran that thing like he was a running back. Okay? Dante Fowler, shout out to him. Emmanuel Forbes finally got another pick in his career, second one of his career. Good for him. He needed that. Hopefully that he can get it right in his head now. Hopefully. And he can actually start contributing. And I got to say, something that I didn't expect. Mikey Sainristil's our best corner overall, but he's a nickel corner, right? You have Noah I'm just going to call him Iggy because I can't say his name. Iggy.
Nominee.
I'm not going to try to say it. So, Noah Iggy has become our best outside corner, which is crazy because he definitely has some deficiencies. But here's the thing, guys. We have a system. We have a culture that is being established. We are beating the teams that we're not supposed to. We're beating the teams we're supposed to. And we're beating them not just by a little bit, but by a lot. Okay? Next offseason, we have more draft picks than we did last year. We have the most caps, one of the best cap space situations going into next offseason. And on top of that, we already have a core. I think we're going to be filling in the cracks versus building a roster at this point. Now, are we going to be able to beat the elite teams? I don't know. Baltimore made, Mal's a big Baltimore fan, so she got to cheer for something on her birthday. But they spanked the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Okay, Tampa Bay's no joke. So that makes me feel a little bit better about how we lost to them the other week. At the end of the day, look, our defense has an identity. And by the way, our defensive line looked even better without John Allen. So, Earl, if you still want John Allen, we'll trade you him. But he's not going to be ready until next season. I don't think we need John Allen. You can have him.
Nah, I think we'll probably find someone outside of Allen.
Okay. Just saying, you were asking earlier. So
while he was healthy.
Fair enough. So, anyway, that's just some of the things I've noticed. Look. I don't know. That's just, it's good. It's good to, 5-2 feels really good. It doesn't happen often. Hopefully it's the beginning of a trend. We'll see. But right now, it feels great. Any thoughts?
I got something.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, no, 5-2 is great. And y'all are playing together as a team. I've seen just how the team plays. I've seen it before. Just got to see how consistent you continue to keep it. And when those tough matchups do appear, it'll also show how well y'all are as a team through adversity. The first one was against the Ravens. Hey, that happens. But you responded after that. Even after you lost your star quarterback, you didn't miss a beat. The defense played very well. Dante Fowler Jr., I've seen what he was capable to do when he was in Dallas. I felt like he should have deserved more tick. Right now he's getting that in Washington. Respect to him. He's actually my player of the game for you guys for this game because he ignited what y'all.
Oh, yeah. Because before that, Panthers were just running down the field like they wanted to on that first defensive possession, and then that just flipped the script for everything.
Basically, it was leading up to that pick. I was pretty much saying on how they were like trying to do their little finesse thing. I was like, you could easily pick that off. And then before you know it, it was a pick six. But you guys are playing together well as a team and definitely is a team that other teams should worry about regardless of who they play. And we'll just see if y'all can keep it up.
I can't wait to play the Giants in 2 weeks.
So.
Yeah, I can't wait to play the Giants in 2 weeks because that first game shouldn't have been as close as it was, and it probably won't be second time around. Yes, that is smack talk, Mal. I'm sorry.
And you got to see how healthy Daniels is. And
hopefully, I don't think it's anything major. I don't think. I'm hoping so.
Just teach this man how to slide.
That's fair. But look, my player, I have a co-player of the game. It's Marcus Mariota for stepping in, playing so well, and of course Dante Fowler Jr. Those are my co-player of the games. But Mal, Maurice, any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, Earl kind of hit it all there. I don't really have much more to say. I will say, I thought the Panthers were better, but they're not good.
No, they're 1-6 now.
Nah,
it's fine.
Not even close.
The Giants will never win another game. They'll beat them.
We'll see. We'll see.
No, I said the Panthers will beat them.
Oh, maybe.
Well, Lucas, how many yards did Jaden Daniels rush for?
50 yards on 3 attempts. He had a long of 46 at one point.
Are you a little concerned about him running as much as he is early on? I mean, it's already one rib injury.
That's
right. Well, you could always look. Any runner could get hit in the ribs. Any quarterback could get hit in the ribs. It could necessarily not be even. It could even be in the pocket, right? Most quarterback injuries happen inside the pocket versus outside the pocket, right? So,
is there a slight concern of his body frame?
I think that if there is a concern, first off, he is a pass-first guy. He's not like RG3. RG3 relied on the run to open up the pass. We can all agree on that, right? So, but Jaden runs to extend the play, not because he can't pass. Does that make sense? He bails our offense out when our wide receivers can't get open, right? So that's what Daniels does. Because if you look, they barely call any designed runs for him anymore. Like week 1 and 2, yeah, there were a lot, but now barely any at all. So like, he is running of his own volition. It's not like they're purposely putting him out there.
That run option play, he went for 48 yards. Like that was on his decision too.
That was his call. And like I said, when it comes down to it, I think Jaden is a smart enough player to know, I'm going to protect myself in the pocket when I need to. I remember against the Giants, he got hit by the Maddox kid, right? And after that, he basically stayed in the pocket almost the whole game. I think he just needs those occasional pops to remind him, hey, that's right, the pocket is probably better. But also, I think Jaden's the type of guy that's dedicated that if he gets through this season, he's going to work on his body to build up the muscles where he needs to do to protect himself moving forward. Okay? So, am I concerned long-term? No. Am I concerned short-term? Maybe a little bit, but I think we'll be okay. I do want to note that Daniels is the third leading rusher in the division right now by a comfortable margin over 4th and 5th, which is Rico Dowdle and Devin Singletary. So, that being said, I hope that answers your question, Maurice.
Okay.
All right. So, any other thoughts before we move on? Cool. Let's get to our stuff. Yeah, this podcast is going good. We're getting through our stuff, guys. That's good. That's good stuff. Yay, let's get to our mailbag. We have 2 mailbag questions, don't we, Maurice?
Yes, we do. Want to shout out Ed Helsinki and Maple. Shout out you guys. First question. Are the Commanders truly for real? Or might they come back down to earth in the next 11 weeks?
I'm hoping that they're for real. We have a new ownership, new front office, new head coach, new quarterback, mostly new roster, mostly new staff. Like let's not put the bad history on this team and just enjoy the fact that they're a 5-2 team. If this was any other franchise that was 5-2 that didn't have the bad history that the Commanders have, we'd be more hyped about them. So I'm trying to be more hyped, but also stay grounded. It's a very fine line that I'm toting. Hopefully that answers your question.
Okay. Anybody else got anything to say? Nope. All right. I'll just say this. The Commanders are not pretenders anymore. They're contenders.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I think they are contenders for the NFC East for sure. Yet to be seen on the Cowboys, but right now it feels like a 2-horse race in the NFC East with the Eagles and the Commanders. We'll see if the Cowboys can join back in. That seems more of a hard issue for Dallas, though. We'll see.
Speaking of hard, our next question. Talk about Troy Aikman's critique of Mike McCarthy and him disagreeing with him. Also critiquing the 3-time Super Bowl winning QB. I hope I said that right. That's the way it was written.
Yep.
To stay in his lane.
QB, Hall of Famer. He's got a gold jacket.
But wait a minute, Earl. Let me before you go, let me just read the quote Troy Aikman said. And he said this on a radio station in Dallas. I think the routes are terrible. I think they run terrible routes. Routes. Okay. And I've thought that beyond this year, I think CeeDee Lamb has to improve his running. And as quarterback, if you aren't certain where guys are going to be consistently, it's going to be hard to play the position. He also said, the former Cowboys QB also said that the team appears to be lazy off the line of scrimmage.
Can I answer?
Go ahead.
Alrighty, there's some truths to what Troy Aikman said, but for some, I got a chance to watch the tape. And some stuff he spoke on, I think he spoke more on the Detroit game and probably the Saints game. And I got a chance to look at each receiver and whoever lined up at receiver on their individual routes. I saw some were good, some were bad. I can definitely say that Dallas needs another weapon. They need a number 2 receiver to go along with CeeDee Lamb. Because when the play ignites to go to a certain player, some receivers kind of lack on routes. And I think that's probably what Troy Aikman was speaking on, especially the Detroit game. I saw CeeDee Lamb really didn't have enough heart coming off the line of scrimmage, but is also, as a receiver, you really don't want to show your hand, show something lazy, but then next thing you know, you can just jump off the screen just to keep the corners guessing. It's like a chess match. And basically what Aikman was talking about, there's some truth to it, but you got to identify what he's talking about, because the way that he spoke on it could be a little nefarious if you're not understanding and reading the context and what he's talking about. So any Cowboy fans that say this and kind of see what McCarthy said, Kevontae Turpin even spoke on it, pretty much telling Troy Aikman to shut up, old man. So, yeah, we'll see how they come out against the Niners. Maybe that'll light a fire in them. But overall, for those who are taking his words to heart, go look at the tape for yourself and see if anybody was lazy coming off the snap and route running. CeeDee Lamb, he has that uniqueness of route running. He definitely has to improve on it, but route running for him is not a strong suit. When Dallas had Amari Cooper, he was a route specialist. Like, he was a route martial artist. You don't have that now. He's in Buffalo. So CeeDee Lamb right now, he has to create his own routes the best way possible, but McCarthy is designating it. So you just got to, honestly, you just got to watch the tape. But I saw kind of highs and lows with the route selections as well as the effort coming off the line.
All right, cool. All right. It kind of sounds like Troy was saying a lot of things you've been saying on this podcast.
Maybe he's listening.
Hey,
shout out to Troy if you're listening, my man.
Shout out.
My voice matters.
All right, that's it for the mailbag.
Yes, it's time for Earl's favorite segment.
Talking about the football wizards?
I mean, this week we are, yes.
Oh, word. Okay, let me...
But this player was not a part of the quote-unquote football wizards. They had their old name at this point.
Is that so?
Yes, go ahead. Introduce this.
I already know you're trying to stump me, so we'll see how this goes.
Hopefully I did this time. We'll see. Last week I was very disappointed that you knew the answer. Let's see if you can figure it out this week.
I hope I mess up your day, sir.
Oh, Lord. Let's introduce it. Come on, man. Let's get to it.
It's time for Who's That Football Player? Dini. This football player plays on the Washington Football Wizards. I refuse to call the other name. Back in the 2012 season, this football player had 36 receptions for 543 yards and 3 touchdowns. Guys and gal, who's that football player?
I'll go to Mal first. Do you have an idea of who this football player is?
I have no idea.
Maurice?
Pierre Garçon.
Earl?
You really want me to go?
Yes, sir.
Leonard Hankerson.
I hate you so much. Yes, it was Leonard Hankerson. How? How did you know that?
It was that RG3 year, right?
Technically, yes.
Yeah, I know all about your little receiving core back then. Yeah,
I literally just, when I was thinking of the player, I'm like, let me just think of a random player name, and Leonard Hankerson was the first one that came to mind.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Maybe I need to start doing linemen. Maybe that will throw you off.
Basically, I mean, Pierre Garçon had 44 receptions that year. He was not far off from Hankerson. So, yeah, I was just like, okay, it wasn't Garçon. But then I thought about it. I was like, Hankerson was on that squad, too. Yeah, Lucas is trying to mess with me. Yeah, he's still.
It was a good one, though. It was a good one. Just saying, it was a good one. And then Maurice, you can't complain because it was somebody after 2000.
Yeah, it was. That was a good question.
That was
all right. So let's get to the poll questions.
Yeah, so we have 2 poll questions this week. I'll go with the Cowboys one first. So, should Jerry and Stephen Jones be involved making personal decisions moving forward?
Personnel.
Oh, personnel. Okay, so should Jerry and Stephen Jones be involved making personnel decisions moving forward? Yeah, majority of people said no, Earl.
But there were a lot of people that said yes, and there were there's some people on Facebook that were just like
zombies.
I said no, but if they're going to remain owners, they're going to have power over that. So,
but there's some owners like Josh Harris that that don't get involved in personnel decisions very often, or at all.
He owns another team. He should get more involved, but
they're playing tomorrow night, my friend. So we'll see. Shout out to the NBA season starting tonight. We're recording on Tuesday night, y'all. That being said,
I think Jerry Jones has passed his prime for knowing certain things about football.
He's
pretty much delusional about it. And
he's Delulu, as the kids would say.
Delulu, whatever you call it. He's got delusions of grandeur. And Stephen Jones really hasn't picked up a pigskin. The only thing he knows is a checkbook and a receipt book. And the only guy in there that would know some stuff is Will McClay. That man has saved the hairs of their chinny chin chin for years now, and I believe that he definitely deserves to have control of what personnel can come in, because he's looking at the guys. Stephen Jones only, like I said, he's the mascot, while Stephen Jones is basically running the team, but he's doing a pathetic job of it.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. What's the other NFC East poll, Mal?
Yeah, so after 6 weeks into the NFL season, who will win the NFC East division? Commanders, Eagles, Giants, Cowboys. Majority said Commanders. And that was on response to Rio's post.
Yes.
I think that they have the pole position right now anyway. Not a lock, but definitely pole position in the more favorable schedule. That being said,
at least top 4.
Who would have thought the Commanders-Eagles games are going to be for the division?
That's the one thing you can say. Back when Ron Rivera was having the team, at least he cared about that game. Not any other games, but that game. Kind of weird, but it's Ron. So I hope you enjoy him working for NFL. Is he on NFL Network now, or thought he was on somewhere?
I mean, he showed up there a couple times, but I'm not sure if it's something legit.
Yeah, I think Ron should just enjoy retirement. You've done enough, my man. You've done enough. But let's get to the trivia question. And I thought this was a fun one here. So the trivia question was a New York Giants one, and the question is, who has the most rushing touchdowns in a single season for the New York Giants? I'll start with Maurice first.
I actually do know this one because they mentioned it on a game last season.
Okay, so I'll wait on you then. Mal, do you want to guess?
Joe Morris.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's Joe Morris. Okay, yeah. I thought that was a little bit harder than because you don't think of Joe Morris when you think of top running backs in Giants history.
Yeah, 21 touchdowns.
No, 21. Joe Morris is a really good running back.
But you think of Tiki Barber, you think of Ahmad Bradshaw, you think of Brandon Jacobs or Saquon Barkley. You don't think of Joe Morris. I mean, I'm not saying that he's bad. I mean, but he's not the top of the list.
He had that stat line in '85.
Yeah, it was 85.
It was one of. Yeah. It honestly was one of the top ones in the division.
Yeah. No. You got to think about it in the 80s, because I think didn't 85 the Cowboys still had Herschel Walker too, a running back.
Yep.
And so you had a division with John Riggins, Joe Morris, and Herschel Walker. And who was the Eagles running back at that point?
I want to say Wilbert Montgomery, but I'm not.
Yeah, Wilbert Montgomery. He was a solid one too.
I don't know if he's still there, but yeah, he was around that time.
Okay, there you go. That's a pretty deep running back group for a division. Just saying.
Oh, I can say this real quick about what Joe Morris did. He's definitely he's in like the top 4 for most rushing TDs in a single season. He's up there with Emmitt Smith, Terry Allen, and Terrell Davis.
There you go. But Earl, let's keep it with you because you are starting your new segment this week. And how excited are you that you get to do this?
I'm excited about it because it gives me just a chance to look at more draft prospects. And for me, I definitely looking to get better with looking at draft prospects. And this week, it deals with the Cowboys because I know for sure they definitely need defensive interior help. And this prospect is from one of my is actually at my favorite college, the University of Nebraska. Ty Robinson. Ty Robinson, his body frame is something that I think Dallas really needs. That is key, definitely, to apply presence, especially in the interior. He's 6'6", 311 pounds. That is a freakish height. And then if he's a big guy, like his shoulder pads doesn't do him enough justice to hold him on his just body frame. And one thing that I noticed from him is that his strengths, he has a high motor, he can definitely clog gaps, and he can get upfield pretty consistent. The only thing is within his weakness is getting off certain blocks and being able to do that at a faster pace. I think overall when he gets more into the combine setting and just seeing how he does from there, I think he'll be a super late round pick for the Cowboys, and where I think they definitely need bigger guys to go with Mozzie. And especially if Osa doesn't get re-signed, you definitely need to look for someone who has a good uptick that can get upfield but have a big body frame. So that's my draft prospect for this week dealing with the Dallas Cowboys. So hopefully the Cowboys can see that Ty Robinson could help them in a certain way. But I digress with that. There'll be more coming up in later weeks for all y'all teams as well.
I just want to note, I listened to last week's episode, and y'all were stealing Earl's digress thing, especially Mal. I got to call you all out on this. You too, Maurice. You laughing, but I'm being serious. Y'all stealing Earl's stuff. Thank you, Earl. We'll be doing probably the Giants next week. So I think we're looking for another.
Like me to do for them?
I think we're just going to stick in the 7th round and work our way up as we get closer to the draft.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, I think that's fair. So, Mal, you won't know which quarterback Earl's looking at for you guys until like before the draft. Sorry.
Oh no, that's probably going to be the 1st round pick for the Giants.
Oh, it's definitely going to be. But that being said, Maurice, let's look at the Week 8 matchups.
Okay, so Mal, you got the Steelers. You already kind of talked about it earlier. Do you have any confidence the Giants can pull out a victory?
Nope.
All
Case
right.
closed.
Wow.
Case closed.
What, you don't think Russell Wilson will... You think we're going to see like the Russell Wilson we saw the other night?
I'm full doom and gloom.
More. It's in Pittsburgh, right?
I think so. Honestly,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh winning that.
You
guys, Powers of Sierra as well. Yeah, he's gonna be cooking.
He said his Powers in Sierra. I'm dead.
The Yankees are in the World Series, so that's
Is
all
he
that
praying
matters.
to Sierra, Earl?
I don't know. Whatever he did this past game, it worked. So
Do the hips?
I was
That's Shakira. I was about to say something else.
Yeah, that's somebody else.
The Yankees are in the World Series. We can celebrate that.
Well, if anybody out there doesn't know, Earl and Mal are Yankees fans, so...
Woo!
Yeah,
Let's get 28, y'all.
Yeah, I've
You
been waiting for that
do
since
y'all need
2009 when they won their
New York
27th.
versus L.A.
That's a classic matchup. I do
Yankees,
like that.
Dodgers. Yeah, it is.
And just to be a troll, I'm going to be cheering for the Dodgers.
You can kick rocks, Lucas.
Yeah,
Otani's
you
going to
can
hit a couple homers. But anyway. Eagles, Bengals. I'm confident about this game.
I don't know. The Bengals are starting to get some momentum, my man. We'll see.
Yeah, their defense is kind of trash.
I think Saquon is going to bail y'all out again. Honest.
Might.
Hey, man, I'm all for running the football. So if Saquon's going to do it, if he has a couple more of these games, You got to put him in MVP conversation.
And I tell you what, Maurice, if y'all didn't have Saquon, how would your team look?
Oh, boy. We'd be in deep trouble.
What if it was DeAndre Swift like last year?
No, he's not bad, but, I mean, he's not really having an impact on the Chicago Bears.
Well, that's just because of bad coaching.
Yeah. Hey, real quick before we continue. There's been a rash of injuries in the NFL.
Yeah, a ton, yeah. How's y'all fantasies team holding up?
Oh, don't! I don't want to talk about that.
Oh, I actually got a little short rant that I want to get through. I was looking and I was like, "Oh man, we had a good time at home. Let me get this out."
By the way, Mal almost came back and beat me in fantasy football. 1 point away, Mal.
Almost.
But you started an injured tight end. Come on, Mal.
I don't think she realized it at the time.
I didn't. Oh my god, I'm struggling here, guys. I'm losing my mind.
Virtual hug, Mal. I give you a virtual hug.
Virtual hugs across the board.
Okay, Earl, you got your rant?
Yes, yeah. My little rant is to the New Orleans Saints and the fans.
That is so random.
One thing that I noticed from this, especially after we played them, they threw a parade in Dallas after they beat us to the point that was their Super Bowl. They haven't won a game since week 2.
Ooh,
I want y'all to know y'all need to learn how to be humble after a victory. Ooh. Because you beating the Panthers, that's pretty much an easy streak. Lucas can attest to that.
That's
and then
true.
You beat a depleted Cowboys team that's trying to find their identity. So yeah, you got us then. But what y'all did afterwards, inexcusable. I just think y'all were saying it and spraying it and not realizing what y'all had as a whole. And now y'all got to reap what you sow. Now you're down to Spencer Rattler. Good luck with that. But just to be assured, sit down, be humble.
All right, Earl K. Dot. All right, Cowboys 49ers. We mentioned this earlier, talked about it earlier. Brandon Ayuk.
Out for the season.
Yeah, he's out he tore his ACL and MCL. Prayers to him.
Prayers to him. And Debo was in the hospital. I think he had pneumonia, like he was getting some fluid through his
Jawan Jennings is out too. At least he was out last week.
Yeah.
There's something about Kittle as well. Like I said.
So Ricky Pearsall is going to get some run, right?
Yep.
I guess.
But I tell you what with this is that I'm not looking over the Niners because of Shanahan and what he's able to do. I just don't want Dallas to come in thinking, oh, they don't got the stars, we should take them lightly. No, you got to hit them with everything you got. And I think it's kind of a fair overall balance where their offensive guys are hurt, our defensive guys are hurt. So it kind of trades off on equality. But they got to really get this monkey off their back going up against this Niners team. And I'm very interested to see if the Cowboys going to show up as dogs or come in as puppies.
All right.
I want to fight.
Okay, well, you might get that.
All right. And finally, the Commanders versus Bears.
Well, like I said earlier, I think Jaden's going to play. And if you do, it's going to be one of those iconic 1-2 matchups from the draft.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. I'm hoping for a win there. We'll see. I believe it is in Chicago, so that's going to be a little bit of a tough environment. But I got good feelings about this, guys. I got good feelings.
I got a feeling. Woo-hoo.
Hey,
oh wow! Look at Maurice with the song reference. I'm
Football
loving
Wizards
it.
Gonna steal some picnic baskets.
Oh boo boo! We're gonna steal some picnic baskets today.
I'm ready.
Let's go ahead and wrap things up, though. Let's wrap things up, guys.
I want to thank everyone for listening. We want to thank everyone for listening to another episode of 13 Rings, an NFC's podcast. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast on Spotify, Apple Music, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. And also check us out on YouTube as well. Subscribe to our channel and give our latest video a thumbs up. Make sure to follow us on X, Instagram, and Facebook at 13_rings podcast. Until next week, have a good day.
See ya.
Bye, y'all.
Blessings.